Adoption's expensive. Adoption has huge human trafficking rates. Wow. Okay, what's up, y'all? Welcome to my channel. I'm Tish, the writer behind Adopted Black Girl, which is a blog and a digital community to help Black adopted girls and women and all of us who have experienced foster care to feel seen, heard, and valued. It's like what's going on with the channel. But I've been doing a lot of good work in the community, and we're going to go over that today. We're also going to talk about why adoption, we're not talking about it right. We're not having conversations that actually lead to action items. We're talking in circles, and the folks that are talking in circles are the folks who don't even experience adoption or have no ties to adoption. They just know that it should be a good thing. It should be a great thing. That's what they're hearing. That's what they're believing. So is it a good thing? It's not the most healthiest thing. And so let's talk about the options. Let's talk about from an adoptee point of view. I'm a Black kinship adoptee. And honestly, y'all, I've been writing about this for 6 years. And I'll say this. Adoption is it's a misconception that it's a great thing. It's a misconception that people are hurt by it, that people don't sit and feel bad about it. It is a misconception that everyone supports it. And why is it a misconception? Well, I mean, we can really talk about it. So it's a misconception because the whole idea of adoption is giving folks a chance to raise someone else's child and then claiming them as their own, right? To adopt, to take. And when you take from one place, that means someone else loses something. You gain, but it's someone else's loss. And we have become so accustomed to taking a child or young adult for our own good, because I do think it's a little bit of selfishness in there, for our own good, to think that we're giving them a better life, we're saving them. And on the other point of it, it's were all the resources allocated before this was the option, right? Like, what were the family contacted, right? I mean, what's the family contacted? Was the biological mom given a choice? Was the foster care plan, like, was it meant for reunification, which is reuniting them with the birth family, or was it just talking? The reason why we have this misconception about adoption is because we want it to be under this rainbow. But the thing is, it's not always under a rainbow. Now, my kinship experience, people will say, oh, you had a good kinship experience. It's fine. What are you talking about? And at the same time, I can say, dang, I missed out on those one-on-one conversations with my biological parents. I miss going out. I miss cooking. I miss getting my hair done by my mother. I miss that emotional connection. I missed all these things. Yet, I can understand that my needs were met. And people will still say, well, that's why you were adopted. Well, at least you didn't grow up in a drug house. Well, you know what? To that I say this. I don't really know what a better life looks like. I just think that it will be a different life. And I'm blessed to live my life. And I know that there are certain gaps that I have to work just a little bit harder on. So adoption should be talked about in a way that sees the whole picture, not just a piece of it. You know? If I tell you that this whole pizza is pepperoni, and you bite into a piece and you see and taste that it's onion, what are you going to think? You're going to think I lied to you. That's about adoption. Like, come on now. Come on. Foster care is the beginning, right? So we're going to start from like how we get to adoption phase, okay? Because I think this is very important. The first phase, something happens with the family, okay? Something happens with a family. CPS might be called. Or I know they have those safe havens around. That's another video. But if something happens with the family and the child can't be taken care of, and so they go into the system, the foster care system. There are over 382,000 folks, young adults, children, in the foster care system. Some of them age out, transition, don't know what's going to happen, aren't really supported. So they're in the system, and the goal isn't to help another family plan. The goal is for them to be reunited with their biological family. So biological family, something happens, child goes in the system, young adult goes in the system. Child stays in the system. They work with a social worker. But the social worker may be working toward taking them further away from their family, or not even working with the family, to taking the money from another family. Private adoption is expensive. Adoption is expensive. Adoption has huge human trafficking rates. Wow. So they're in the foster care system. It's like, oh my goodness, these kids have been here for a long time. We come to months like this month, which is Foster Care Awareness Month. Like, oh my goodness, oh my gosh, let me look at foster care. This is a family. They adopt a child. Now, they decide if it can be closed or open. Now, I am just like giving like an overview. It's a lot more steps in this, but I really think if we're going to talk about it, such a sensitive topic, we need to talk about it in a holistic view, because not talking about it in a holistic view is doing everyone a disservice. So that child goes up in adoption, and guess what? How they hear about their biological parents, whether it's open or closed, is through someone else's point of view, not the family's point of view. And so, yes, this child has their basic needs met. They go to college, they're very active, in their communities. They're a star, all these things. They grow up and kind of feel like something's missing. So they see that there are some gaps in the relationships. They see there's some gaps in the friendships. They're very selfish in who they trust, but they're also very closed off. And it hurts because they can't really experience the things that they want to experience because of all the hurt that has been done. And it, and we think that's good. But it's good and bad, the same thing as healthy and unhealthy. When we talk about adoption, I think it's important that we acknowledge that someone loses in the process. You gain a family member, but something loses in the process. Someone loses in the process. Identities are shaken, identities are taken. And this conversation isn't like I support this. It's actually, I understand why some children are adopted. For my fellow adoptees, we talk all the time. We talk all the time. And I'm just like, okay, I know why this choice happened. I don't agree with that choice, though. I didn't have no say in the matter. So I don't agree with that choice, though. And instead of saying, oh, you should be grateful, it's like, you know what? Do you want to talk about that? Like, can we unpack that? Like, what? Because my phone fell. Okay. Can we unpack that? Because what I think is completely different. But what you are saying, wow, So we're talking about adoption wrong because we're talking about it in statements and not in conversation. And when we don't talk about it in conversation, we don't give people a chance to process. We don't give people a chance to really come into who they are. We don't give people a chance to get into their identities. Some people are still like, adoption is great. I'm so great. Oh my gosh. And you don't even know you're missing the whole family line. You're missing the whole family line. So I think like if we have this conversation and we move toward talking with each other instead of just talking at each other, we can have critical conversation about adoption that leads plans forward, that leads to foster care homes putting more emphasis on reunification and kinship care, and get these young kids out the foster care system and back with their biological parents. There are so many other arguments that come into play, but this is the main point. Conversations need to be critical, not judgmental. Conversations need to be intentional, not just to pass time. Conversations will be uncomfortable, but they need to be necessary. I hope you learn a little bit about adoption, more so, especially as you go have these conversations from an adoptee's point of view, and also from my fellow adopted Black girls as we continue to talk about our stories. Really find empowering stories, find empowering your voice, because we also can drive this catalyst with conversation around adoption and foster care and reunification. Please follow me on Instagram at AdoptedBlackGirl. Go to my website, adoptedblackgirl.com. And also you can email me at teach@adoptedblackgirl.com. And I will see you next week.